Hello everyone, I'm Terry Duke, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 video. In a previous video I showcased some of my favorite mods from the game over several categories, including mods that change the game's overall atmosphere, either through the music or the weather. But I also left a lot of other mods out, so today I'm sharing my personal go-to mods for when I need a change of atmosphere. Feel free to let me know in the comments what your go-to mods are, and I could make another video showcasing your mods. Now let's do this, starting with weather mods. The classic here is obviously True Storm, so if you've never heard of it, it's a mod that adds different weathers to the game, including a radioactive storm that looks really cool, and it's all fully customizable via a holotape on the Pip-Boy. However, if you want even more variety of weathers, then I'd suggest you try out Vivid Weathers, which is just that. There's just way more options with the weather, and radioactive storms are there as well, though they're even more dynamics with more lightning animations, and more radioactive colors from green to blue and red, which is all pretty intense. The mod also comes with a weather station located not far from Sanctuary Hills, where you can control the weather as well as create a new settlement. So really, whether you pick True Storms or Vivid Weathers really comes down to preference. One is simpler, the other more varied, and that's about it. When it comes to changing the actual environment, there are many small mods that can be paired together to achieve a certain look, and there's other mods meant to completely overhaul everything. When it comes to achieving a certain look using smaller mods, I only use a few. The first one is True Grass, which is a simple mod that adds more vegetation to the game at no cost in performance. You don't really tend to notice it until you play without it and realize the game feels kinda bland without it. Along this mod, I like to use clean water to make water in the game absolutely beautiful and see-through, a welcome change from the regular dirty water from the base game. Another beautiful mod to spice up the visuals is Fireflies, a mod that will add shiny fireflies at night. They can also be customized in the mod configuration menu to change their colors and make them disappear during combat so as to not be intrusive. I discovered this mod recently, but it makes nighttime gameplay all the more enjoyable. And to improve the glowing sea specifically, I also recommend the Fungal Forest, which covers the glowing sea in giant radioactive mushrooms to make it all the more unique. And finally, although this look is not for everybody, this next mod brings us into the overall mods, and this is Polluted Climate. This mod puts more emphasis on the post-apocalyptic vibe by desaturating the colors a bit, bringing out more contrast, and putting in more pollution smog. So if you're looking for a more gritty, desolate-looking wasteland, this mod is for you. Similarly, the next mod aims for the same thing, but more from the perspective of Scorched Earth. This mod is called Vulcan, and as you can see, the land tends to be burnt black, covered in ash. The glowing sea is also deeply affected by this mod, with what appears to be burnt magma all over the place. So this mod is really cool if you want to feel like the entire world was burnt and never recovered. But if you want the contrary, that is, you don't want a depressing wasteland that never heals, you want something like vegetation overgrowing everywhere, then this next mod is for you. This is simply called a forest, and as the name suggests, this here mod covers the Commonwealth in trees and vegetation. In a sense, the wasteland has healed quite considerably with this mod, and it makes for a beautiful experience. The final overall mod I enjoy occasionally is the Winter Overhaul. There are several mods that change the game's base season, but for me, I really enjoy Winter Overhaul for, you know, the nuclear winter vibe. This mod is a couple of years old, but it still works like a charm, and sometimes it's all I need to make the game feel fresh. But besides these environment mods, another simple way to change the game's atmosphere is to change the music itself, for which I have a few recommendations. DV's Wasteland Music is a simple mod that replaces most of the vanilla music, but not all. It does not change much in tone from the base game, but having the different soundtrack can still be very refreshing. On the other hand, if you want some hardcore music to hype yourself up in combat segments, Digital Nightmare is a classic, filled with metal and dubstep. And a recent discovery that I really enjoy for the variety of music is Faded Glory, a mod that contains over 4 hours of music total, from post-apocalyptic to jazz and even some rock, so that's another definite recommend. And the final aspects of the game that can change the atmosphere are the colors themselves. There's a couple of mods to change the overall color scheme of the game, but they're pretty hard to find. For most people, the main way to change the colors is to get a ENB. These are mods that change several aspects of the game, such as lighting and shadows, however they can also change the colors a bit. That said, I find ENBs are complicated to install and can often have nasty side effects like very poor performance if they're not installed exactly right. So if you've never had any mods for color, the safest bet is Fallout 4 Enhanced Color Correction. This mod is easy to install, and all it does is bring up the colors a bit. It's a lot of polishing really, that elevates the game without being too obvious. I've always used it, and if you're trying to keep it simple, this should be your go-to. That said, Polluted Climate, as mentioned before, brings its own color scheme if you want a more obscure tone. Another one I discovered recently is Psycho LUT. LUT stands for lookup tables, which simply put is like a color filter, and this mod offers several versions meant to bring up the colors and contrast. It looks amazing, however I can't seem to get it to work for me at the moment. That said, that really seems to be a me issue, as people in the comments seem pretty happy with it. So do feel free to try it out. Link it down below. And surprisingly, that's pretty much it for today. Short video, I know, but I felt like sticking to the point today. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you found some interesting mods, but if you have better ones, again, feel free to tell me in the comments, as I'm always on the lookout for other mods. Thanks again, and hopefully, I'll see you next time.